Moonlight and high wind, dark poplars toss, insinuate the sea. The yard heaves, perplexed with shadows massed, with more shadows falling away. Before me a tree, distinct in its terrible aspects, emerges, reels, sinks, and is lost. At my feet shapes tear free, separate darknesses mingle, then crawl to a common dark, lost. At the brink of my own now here, now gone shadow stands 3 flowers, or 2 flowers, and 1 shade. Impatience? Illysum? Something forbids me to speak of them in this upheaval of forms and voices. There are voices now, plaintive, anxious. I hear interrogation in vague tongues. I hear ocean sounds and a history of rain. Somewhere a street lamp and my brother never coming. Somewhere a handful of hair and a lost box of letters. And everywhere fire, corridors of fire, brick, and barbed wire. Soldiers sweep the streets for my father. My mother hides him haggard in the closet. The booted ones herd us to the sea. Waves furl, boats and bodies drift out, farther out. My father holds my hand and he says, "Don't forget any of this." A short, bony-faced corporal asks politely, "What color suit, Professor, would you like to be buried in? Brown or blue?" A pistol butt turns my father's spit to blood. It was a tropical night. It was a half a year of sweat and fatal memory. It was 1 year of fire out of the world's diary of fires. Flesh-laced mid-century fire, teeth and hair infested, napalm-dressed and skull-hanging fire. Imminent fire, an elected fire to come rob me of my own death. My damp bed in the noisy earth, my rocking toward a hymn-like night. How then may I speak of flowers here, where a world of forms convulses, here, amidst draughts, yet these are not draughts toward a future form, but furious versions of here and now. Here, now, one should say nothing of 3 flowers, only enter with them in silence, fear, and hope into the next nervous 100 human years. But I see these flowers and they seize my mind, and I can no more unsee them than I can undream this, no more than the mind can stop its wandering over the things of the world, snagged on the world as it is. The mind is a flowering cut into time, a rose, the wandering rose that scaled the red brick of my father's house in Pennsylvania. What was its name? Each bloom unsheathed in my mind urges, "Remember, the Paul's scarlet." Paul, who promised the coming of the perfect and the departing of the imperfect, else why stand we in jeopardy every hour? I thought of Paul the morning I stepped out my door and into an explosion of wings, thudding and flapping, heavenly blows. Blinded, I knew the day of fierce judgment and rapture had come. I thought even the dooryard rose, touched by wind, trembling in anticipation of the first petal fall, announcement of death's commencement, would take back its flowering, claim glory. So the rose and I stood terrified at the beginning of a new and beloved era. It was pigeons, only pigeons I'd startled from the porch rafters, but the dread and hope I carry with me like lead and wings let me believe otherwise. True, none of this has to do with heaven, since the sight of those heavy birds flying away reminded me not so much of what's to come as of what passes away. Birds, hours, words, gestures, persons. A drowned guitar in spring, smell of lacquered wood and wax when I prayed as a boy. A pale cheek cut by a green leaf. The taste of blood in a kiss. Someone whispering into someone's ear, someone crying behind a door, a clock dead at noon. My father's hand cupping my chin, weighing tenderness between us, pressing my mother's hip, weighing desire and cleaving a book open. On the right of his hand the words, the Song of Songs, which is Solomon's. Let him kiss me with the kisses of his mouth. On the left of his hand the words, for God shall bring every work into judgment with every secret thing, whether it be good or whether it be evil. Outside his window his rose, aphid eaten, bad weather racked, stem and thorn, crook and bramble groping, gripping brick, each sickly bloom uttering, "I shall not die," before it's dispersed.